Hey, so I designed a modular item storage container unit that can be stacked alongside one another for very big storage systems. And, on first look, it looks pretty simple, right? You've got a screen that shows what the item is, and you've got the item outputs. But if we go behind this door, we actually see there's a little more going on here. And I just wanted to explain what's happening here because I think it's kind of interesting. So, the first thing is, and this is all labeled, we've got the items that come in, the item input. When items come in, they will come through to here. This splitter's going to check, is it overflowing? If it is, then it's going to take it to an overflow place, and then you can take this off to like a awesome sink. But if it isn't, then it's going to come to this container. My very intentional design, it gets immediately sucked into here and initially will fill this depot up to its max. Then it will start filling up this container for the output. And then once that's filled, this will fill up fully and it will start overflowing. And then once it's overflowing, then it'll go to the overflow output. This smart splitter here also splits the items into 4 separate outputs. Ideally, you've done stuff with the items before it's come to the hub, or the big storage system. But if it hasn't, you can do as you please with this. It's got that flexibility, makes it kind of nice and easy. But there's a couple of extra systems. So one really simply being that you've got some extra inputs. Let's say you've got a belt coming here and then you forgot to merge it and there's not enough space, then just plonk it in here. That's quite easy. But we've also got a sorter. The sorter is quite simple. So in our case, we've got wires. So we would simply, the items should pass through the front here and then come out of the back for items that aren't being sorted into this system. So that is the middle one, which is any undefined. You can see it through here. And then the defined one you have to set manually. So this will start as none. But for this one, we have chosen it as wires. So on the left-hand side, only wires will come through. And then that gets sent immediately into the exact same system as normal items. And so if it overflows, and all of that kind of fun stuff, and also gets split up to the 4 sections. Additionally, I've also run some power lines across the walls and some color lines so that you have fine control over the light and that doesn't interfere with the power. And when you first set up, obviously there's a few different inputs and outputs and systems involved. So there's a to-do list. First thing, sort out your overflow. So we've got the overflow input. Well, let's say there's another system chained behind it, because this is going to be modular, and it's also overflowing, but it's only getting like a few items per minute. Then the belt's not going to be stacked up, so you may as well just daisy chain it with this one. And if this one is the same, it doesn't really have that many items per minute, and the belt can handle it, then we can chain these together and send them all off to an awesome sink. So that's overflow done. What's the next one? Add the input. So then we'll add our input here. Okay. What's the next one? Do the sorter. So the sorter would simply be making sure the belt for the front of the sorter and the back of the sorter is connected, and then we'd come into here and program the left-hand one, which we've already done. And now it's all done, we can just remove this. Cool. And now the system is set up and ready to go. So now I've shown you what this can look like on a smaller scale. Let's see what it looks like on a larger scale. You see, I've started working on a very large storage system. I mean, it's kind of done now. And if I come down to the first layer here, we can really see a good example of this in action. So if we come through the middle, we can see the inputs and outputs. I've chained this all together, and we've got the outputs. Very modular, very simple. And when we come through the back, we got the lights connected. The lights are actually all running off of this control panel. So if I wanted to change it to purple, I can change it to purple. And because it runs on its own line, if I set up any other lights through any other power, I think this is our main power, so you can see that this light is unaffected by the color of the other lights. It's all independent. But I really like the orange lights, to be honest. I think that this contrasts so nicely with the blue. It just looks so cool. Oh, okay. So very proud of my power lines here. And we can also see how we've got the overflow chaining along. We can actually see some of this in action. And sometimes it's got quite a few items coming through it, so we immediately just send it off to an awesome sync. And then in other cases, like, that isn't many items per minute, and none of the other items are really overflowing that much, so it's quite easy. And we also have the sorter, so I can show this off. I've chained it up to this auto sorter, and so if I put all of my items into the sorting system, watch it run through, and I'll go through the inputs. I think wires will be taken. Oh, there we go. Some copper sheets have been taken. I think wires get taken somewhere over here. Oh, these are quick wires. Is it here? There we go. All of the quick wires are being taken off, and you can see they're all being taken into the main system, and they're actually going up into the overflow. And so then we can see the overflow in action as it comes across, daisy chains over all of the other mergers, the overflow inputs and then outputs, and then comes down all into an awesome sync. And that works for every system. And so ideally, all systems should be fully backlogged, prioritizing the dimensional depot, and then any extra items. If we look at the pipes for a second, I think the pipes come semi-frequently. Here we go. We'll see that the pipe will immediately... Oh, where is it? Oh, is someone using the pipes? Oh, they're not fully filled up. 198, 199, 200. Okay, so now that's fully filled up. When we get more in, we should see... There we go. Pipes coming out of the overflow and into the awesome sink. And in other cases, I've got more awesome sinks set up. For these ones, the items can be a lot more frequent. There's one in particular, like especially for the quartz crystals, but we've got some production of silica, and for whatever reason, this silica is just like a perfect speed. It's so quick, so this all immediately goes into the awesome sink because we really don't have anywhere else for it to go. And I mean, you know, you could manually delete these items, let it backlog, but why not get some free cash out of it? Yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm just really proud of this storage system. I think that it looks really cool. I think that it operates really nicely. I think it's really like cool and modular, and I've designed it with so much care for user understanding, because it's quite a complex system being modular, so you know what the inputs and outputs are. Yeah, it's been kind of hard work with a lot of iterations and rebuilding this like a few times over, but I think I finally got a version that I'm quite proud of. And oh, the other final thing I didn't mention, so when items come through the sorter and they reach the end and they couldn't get sorted, they just end up into here. And so you've got all the unsortable items, and usually these are quite useful items. Like, for example, some AI limiters, which I might need. But yeah, that's it. That is my storage system. Thanks so much for watching, and bye-bye.